Hi friends, thanks for joining me again. It's Allison for Scrapbook Nerd. I'm back today to share another 12 by 12 scrapbook layout with you. And it's going to be Christmas themed again. And I'm also going to be using Heidi Swap StoryLine chapters, pattern paper, cardstock, and some of the ephemera from the collection as well. So I used the pattern paper with my Cricut. I cut the pattern that you see there on the layout that I was just gluing. It's arrows. I cut them multiple times and then glued them directly to the background cardstock. And I layered my picture over top of it, and then using the cardstock from the paper pad as well, I cut a whole bunch of icons using my Cricut. So the cardstock specifically that I used from the Heidi Swap paper pad was the light pink. There's kind of a light pink paper in there. There's green paper. And then the other papers that I used all came from my stash. They're actually scrap papers. So I chose a red paper that just deepened the pink from the pattern paper and coordinated really well with the collection, and then of course white cardstock. There is a little bit of gray cardstock as well that I use in the layout. I actually pulled it from my stash, but it coordinates perfectly with the gray cardstock that is in the paper pad. I didn't want to use that gray cardstock only because I was cutting one small image out of it and didn't want to use a fresh sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock to do that. So I found something in my stash that was quite a bit smaller, that was already scraps, and cut the image from that, but I'll show you that later on. Right now I'm working on a candy cane. It's going to be layered behind Merry Christmas, which you saw me putting together. And there's quite a few little different icons that go along with this image as well. There's the candy cane. I was just gluing it together. There's a little ribbon, and then I'm working on the holly. So I cut the holly from white cardstock, and then I cut the holly also from the green cardstock, which is from the Heidi Swap collection, and then the bow from pink cardstock, which is also from Heidi Swap as well. And then I'm going to sit and put all of these together. Oh, I should mention too, the little berries for the holly was also cut from the pink cardstock from Heidi Swap. So I'm not going to show you myself putting them all together because that'll take too long. I also realized as I was trying to put them together that the portion that I'd colored upside down. So none of them lined up and matched, and I had to go back and do it all over again. So that was fun. It took a little bit of time, but it worked out. The reason I colored part of the holly was because I wanted to create some depth in the colors. And so that's why I pulled out my Spectrum Noir markers and colored the background portions of the holly. So here I'm just placing the holly around the Merry Christmas image where they show up actually on my Cricut. I was using my Cricut for reference. Here's the little piece of gray cardstock that I pulled from my stash to cut December from. Like I said earlier, I didn't want to use a fresh sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock just for one little image. So I found something in my stash and used that instead. I'm going to adhere Merry Christmas to my layout with foam squares. I'm just going to get that attached, and then that way I can put the candy cane behind it. Actually, I think I add foam squares to that as well, and foam squares to all of the holly after that. The little bow I attach with my Tombow Mono liquid glue. So I realized when I was putting these together, I made a boo-boo, and it was actually a fairly significant boo-boo. When I go to adhere December and 24th, because that's the day that this particular occasion happened on, I wanted it to be I can't remember why I had to do it over again. There was something wrong anyways, and you're going to see it in the video when I get to that point. I had to go back and recut December and 24, and I adhered them over top of the original ones, but in the order that I had actually wanted it to be. I wanted it to be above something else that I put down on the layout. Oh, I thought of what it was now. I got everything adhered to my layout and then realized I'd wanted a star that I had cut from white cardstock layered in the very back. So I had to take everything off, and then realized that because I'd used my Tombow Mono liquid glue, I couldn't take the December and 24 off. So I cut them again, and after I got the star adhered, I put them over top, lining them up over top of the first December and 24. I hope I'm not confusing you because I'm confusing myself. Layered them over top so that it sat on top of the star, but I lined them up so that you would never know that I had layered two on top of each other and that I'd made a mistake. But I don't think I realized that just yet. I'm putting together these super adorable gingerbread girls. They are supposed to be little gingerbread men, but I cut bows to make them girls because I have two girls and they both were making these cookies. Here's the stars that I was telling you about. And then I realized I had to go back and peel everything off and put the stars down. The gingerbread was cut from white cardstock and toffee, which is more scrap papers that I had in my stash. And actually the toffee coordinated really well with the gray and the Heidi Swap paper too. I could have used the gray, but decided against it in favor of brown. And instead of the little buttons on the gingerbread girls, I swapped the buttons out for little itty bitty hearts, which I think is super cute. And then the gingerbread girls' bows were cut from Heidi Swap pink cardstock. I wasn't happy with the star that I'm putting in the lower right hand corner of the photo, so I go back and recut that one too because it didn't cut very nicely. And then after I get it layered to adhered to the layout, I'll put the little gingerbread girls on top of it. There's one more die cut that I add to the right hand side of the photo that says Baking Up Memories. I wanted to add that because the whole theme of this layout was our tradition of baking cookies for Santa on Christmas Eve. Usually we do cookies from scratch. This year we decided to buy the store-bought, and so we had store-bought cookies that we were baking, and I just thought it fit really well for the whole theme. Originally, that was going to be my title. And then when I found the Merry Christmas image, I changed my mind and decided to make it the subtitle. So I'm going to flip my layout around, get that adhered using my Tombow Mono, of course. I played around after this point, turned the camera off, trying to figure out how I wanted to do the journaling, because I needed a little bit more information to tie everything together and make sense of the story. I thought about doing journaling strips, but I didn't like them. It didn't really seem to fit the layout, so I ended up just writing it beneath Baking Up Memories. And that worked well enough. I was happy with that. And then I think with that, my layout is pretty well done. I don't think I add too much more because it's fairly busy already. But I really enjoyed working with the Heidi Swap paper and the cardstock and the pattern papers. I really liked that yellow pattern paper. I've used it all up now. So I'm going to have to use one of the other pattern papers in the book pad now. For future layouts. Oh, I did go back and add ephemera above Merry Christmas, because that little spot there just felt empty to me and I didn't really quite know what to do. So I went through the ephemera pack and found a phrase that says unforgettable, which I thought was perfect for the theme of this layout as well. Here you can see me just writing or drawing in some lines. I like to go in with the pencil and my straight edge ruler and make lines so that my journaling is straight, because I can't write straight for the life of me. I don't know if you're the same, but I always cheat and use the pencil and then go back and erase it after I'm done. With that, my friends, my layout is done. If you stuck with me this far into the video, congrats and thank you. If you stick around a little bit further, there are some close-ups I have of my layout at the very end of this video. You're welcome to check them out. And you're welcome to grab this paper pad and ephemera from the Scrapbook Nerd shop as well. I'll leave the link down below in the description box so you can get there easily. And have a fantastic day. If you do grab this collection, happy scrapping. Thanks for joining me, you guys. I really appreciate you. I will see you again very soon. Bye.